Eli, let me ask you something. In the Acts of the Apostles, Peter comes and starts scolding everyone, the house of Israel. You killed Jesus. Who did the house of Israel refer to?
Let me see. Sorry.
When Peter arrives, what's it called? Pentecost. Is that what they say? And he starts scolding everyone and starts saying, no, I think it's verse 36 or so. He says, it's the house of Israel. You killed Jesus. And I don't know what else.
No. Hey, here you go. He already asked me. I think Ruben. In Acts 15. Yes, Acts 2. 12, yes, that's correct. Acts 12, 2, 12.
2 at the beginning.
Here you go. I have the answer. Just a moment. Yes. Pues dos. I have the answer to that. 2, 12.
2:36.
But that's right. I have it marked. See, in fact, I have it marked.
Here it is.
Look at what he's saying, Diego. Therefore, know for sure, all the house of Israel. I mean, Peter is mentioning it. Yes. But he's not saying that they were there, nor that they had killed the Messiah. Yes. That this Yeshua, whom you know, he's referring to those who were there, the Jews, the house of Israel. Yes.
But he says they were there.
No, he's not saying they were there. Diego, I'm not saying that they're. It is known for sure. I mean, what Peter is saying is that the dispersed house of Israel will know. I mean, they will already know about the atoning sacrifice. For sure.
Because I don't read that there.
No, not there. Let's see. When it says the house of Israel, it's in the third person. And when it says this Yeshua, there it is speaking, it's pointing to those who were there, who were Jews. At Pentecost, there were only Jews who had come from all the lands. Yes, that's why the apostles spoke in tongues. Yes. So
It seems to me,
they seem to be crying for the house of Israel, but it doesn't say they're present. He mentions it in third person.
No, it's just that it's very.
argument you brought up is really far-fetched. Nobody believes it because you point as if the Bible has fingers. That's how it is.
No. It says here, look, I'll read it to you, Pastor. Therefore, let all the house of Israel know for sure. We know, yes, from the prophecies and from the question asked in Acts 1-6, when the Messiah ascends, that the disciples ask him, will you restore the kingdom to Israel? In other words, he's also speaking in the third person. He doesn't say, will you restore the kingdom of Israel? No. Will you Currently, this refers to restoring the 10 lost tribes of the house of Israel. I'm glad you brought it up, as I'd been asked about it before. Therefore, let the whole house of Israel know for certain. Jacob speaks in the third person. Let the house of Israel know.
They are at the feast, Eli, and many outsiders have come, Gentiles.
But there were only Jews, Pastor. There were only Jews.
It says so at the beginning.
See where?
Of course, basically, you're telling me that Peter says there. Can you hear me over there in Latin America? No.
Let it be known.
Let the whole house of Israel know.
What is it, Jacob? What happens is that right now, when you mentioned that there were also, non-Jews, I mean, Gentiles, you contradicted yourself. Because here it says, listen, all of Israel, and there were Gentiles there. So you mean Gentiles are Israelites too?
No, that's exactly my point. It's saying, you specifically, the house of Israel.
No.
But I'm not. No.
Because it first says the house of Israel, it defines the third person. Let the house of Israel know. And then it says that Yeshua, who is you.
I understand. I understood your reading. My reading is, I will disagree a little. It would be like, know that the house of Israel killed Jesus. Basically, it says that.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. That we're not coming. I mean, let the whole house of Israel know that Jesus, whom you killed.
Yes, excuse me.
The strongest one, verse 14.
Read verse 14.
Yes, but the most reasonable thing to say is this. Since they are mentioning that Jehovah was divorced from Israel and that the Messiah should die because of Israel, so that he could later remarry her, would it be wiser to say, as the text says there, that because of Israel, the Messiah died? It's nothing else.
Yes, because of them. Because Matthew 15:24 says, I have been sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
His logic is that we read a little more. Verse 22.
Jacob, I've read the entire New Testament. I've been reading the Bible for 53 years.
It says, men of Israel.
Exactly. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because at the moment the Messiah dies, as Paul says there is no longer Jew or Greek. Now, everyone is once again one people, Israel. Yes. Excuse me, those two sticks? Excuse me. Those two sticks had been separated. Paul says it. Now, in his death, yes, now they are no longer two peoples, but they become one again. Yes. And they will never be two peoples again. That's why Pedro says to them, men of Israel, no longer Jew, nor Greek, nor Gentile, everyone, both those who are there from the house of Judah and those who are exiled. Now all are Israelites again.
But also,
What is it to listen to Jacob's argument?
Verse 22 explicitly says, men of Israel, listen to these words. Which verse?
Because they are Israelites and Israelites.
But let him finish. Let him finish.
He says, Jesus, that he was among you with wonders, miracles, signs, blah, 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 blah. As you yourselves know. That is, here Jesus is speaking to them, the Israelites. I assume he is referring to the Jews.
Yes, are you an Israelite?
Yes.
You shouldn't call yourself a Jew anymore. Call yourself an Israelite instead.
Yes, also come to Israel. In fact, it's curious. In all rabbinic literature, it doesn't say Jews, it says come to Israel.
Exactly, you should have lost your Jewish identity after the Messiah's death, but you don't believe in him. From that moment, you become an Israelite, since the people here are separated, right? Over there, after that rain, Solomon?
Does it become one again? No.
Before Jesus, the Jews were also called Israel before Jesus. No, always.
They never stopped being that. They never stopped being that. But they identified more as Judaic.
Yes?
As a result of external identification.
The ones who call Jews Jews will be the Romans. Exactly.
Since those who called the disciples Christians were not the disciples themselves, and the disciples didn't use that term. We reject Christianity as a religion. The disciples did not call themselves, yes, 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 but it doesn't say that it's like us.
I understand it as an external name.
Excuse me?
Yes, I don't understand what the confusion is. You yourself say that. Well, if there is neither Jew nor Greek, then why are you so eager to identify as an Israelite?
Well, that's exactly it, Jacob. The division between the two peoples is eliminated, and now everyone becomes one again. Both those who are there, the house of Judah, and the Israelites who are going to be brought in.
You're mentioning me as Israeli and referring to neither Jew nor Greek. Let's say.
No Jew, no Greek, there's nothing. Jacobo is saying that if there's no Jew or Greek, there's nothing. So why want to be from Israel?
No, there's no Jew anymore. I mean, the Jew should stop calling himself a Jew, and the Gentile. I mean, us, the dispersed Israelites. We stop being Gentiles, right? Pablo says it there. When you were Gentiles, right? So if you read Jacob, I tell the Christians, yesterday I gave them an example. If you read, for example, the letter to the Ephesians, what Pablo says to the Ephesians, right? Talking to them about predestination, about being chosen, about lineage, about hope, about promises. He couldn't have said that to pagans. He couldn't have said that to Israelites.
Talking to them? It makes sense. Excuse me? The Jews are Israelites. By definition. So even Paul is telling me, Jews, you are no longer Jews, you are Israelites.
Yes, I mean, in the sense of, for example, you identify as Jewish in a national sense and in a religious sense.
Or not. I'm saying we Jews call ourselves Israel, children of Israel, in all our literature for 2,000 years up to this day. Also before Jesus. So even Paul didn't innovate anything for the Jew. Excuse me, I think that's not the direction. The direction isn't that everyone became Israelites. Here, what Paul is saying is something else. He's talking about the law. He's talking about faith. He's talking about other topics. He's not talking about now being part of a people called Israel.
Of course, he told them. How could he not? Did he tell them? He said, were you previously separated from the Commonwealth of Israel? cut off from the covenants and promises. Paul is speaking to the Gentiles as if they were Israelites. As if they were Israelites. Speaking of covenants, of promises, of lineage, of seed, read Ephesians. Look, in Ephesians, let me read it to you. Look, I have it marked here. Yes, in Ephesians. Yes, in Ephesians 1 verse 4. In the same way he chose us. Paul tells the Ephesians, he chose us. That is a chosen nation. How can you speak to pagans, worshippers of Artemis, about a lesson? Verse 7 of Ephesians 1. In him we have redemption, as the Ephesians, pagans, were to be redeemed if they had no covenant or promise. Ephesians 1:11, in him we also have obtained an inheritance, having been predestined. The Ephesians who were pagans were not predestined. In other words, this is talking about an Israelite context. Of course, well, but
Eli, honestly, I've never seen the Bible twisted so much as you just did in a second. It's talking about but yes,
what happens is that Christians weren't reading it correctly. And I can cite verse 13, Ephesians 1:13. In him you also, having heard the message of truth, the good news of your salvation. Matthew 1:21, Yeshua came to save his people, Israel. And then in Ephesians 1:18, since the eyes of your understanding have been enlightened, so that you may know what is the hope to which you have been called. Hope. What did Paul say in Acts 26-7? Hope. Before King Agrippa, the hope our 12 tribes seek to attain through service. Yes, to Hashem. I can quote all the verses where Paul speaks to him.
Eli, let's let Jacobo speak. He's the guest. Go ahead.
No, Christian has also wanted to add something.
Thank you. Yes, what happens here is that, for example, when the quote about there being neither Jew nor Greek anymore was mentioned, if we keep reading that text, it says that we are all one in the Messiah. So what happens? That one, it refers to, means that we now have an identity, which is being part of Israel, because this is something that hasn't been very well understood in Christian theology. When the disciples talked about this, for example, we see it in Peter when he says that now you are a holy nation, a royal priesthood. I mean, how could he say that to Gentiles if that was first said to Israel? That's in Exodus chapter 19. Therefore, he quotes it again. Why? Because now they have been forgiven of their sins through the sacrifice of the Messiah. Therefore, by being forgiven of their sins, they regain that royal priesthood, that holy nation, which is Israel, the identity that we now have as in this, what's it called? The identity that we now take on in the Messiah is that we are Israel, that we take back what had been lost. That's why Brother Eli had mentioned that Israel mixed among the nations, just like when meat is shredded, it mixed completely and is all over the world. It's then. Entonces your microphone is off, Brother Eli. Thank you.
Ephesians 3:8. To me, Paul, who am less than the least of all the holy apostles, this favor has been granted to preach among the Gentiles, not to the Gentiles. I have been granted to announce. Over there in Galatians 2:8, Paul says to Peter, you to the Jews, I to the Gentiles. Yes, I have been granted to announce among the Gentiles. Do you know Amos 9, Jacob? Let me read it to you. Give me a moment. What happened, Pastor? Let me read it to you.
Amos 9 never won like today.
Look, Amos 9. For I will give the order to shake the house of Israel, right? Among the Gentiles, like sand in a sieve, and not a single stone falls to the ground. Amos, the house of Israel, shaken among the Gentiles,
Just as Paul says in the news. We say,
I'm telling you, the point is to announce. Got it? Not anymore?
It's like a net. It's like a net. And you put the shells and the grain. And after you've put it in and taken it out, it dries. Then you can't pick off every little shell. It's very difficult. So you put it in something like a net where it gets filtered, because you move it in the net. You move it right, left, kind of shake it. And that's how the grain comes out again.
The pagan Gentiles fall out, and the Israelite Gentiles stay in the net.
Israel is among the nations scattered, but what we were saying is that he brings them back. He takes them out of the nations to bring them back. That's the whole point.
Is he drawing us in at this time?
Yes, the state of Israel, we have already returned to our nation. Yes, exactly. The Jewish people, we are Israelis. You're right.
Yes, but let me read.
Allow me. Let me read.
Isaiah.
You're telling me it says, no, well, there's neither Jew nor Roman. Sorry, there's neither Jew nor Greek. But you two are both Israelites, both Jews and Greeks, saying that we Jews already were. Well, but there's neither male nor female.
That's right. It refers to all the treatment that Jewish culture had toward women. Let's just say it. So we don't.
It was like today.
Yes, before the man was in charge, now the woman is in charge. I mean, everything has become kind of curious. Yes.
But it's the same phrase. It's the same phrase. This is in Galatians 3.
Yes, that's right. I mean, there is no longer man or woman. Now we are all, there is no longer free nor slave. There's no longer free nor slave.
That's why there is neither Jew nor. You try to explain this. But they're Israelites. There's neither slave nor free, nor male nor female. So here it's not talking about them being a people now, etc. But it's really about faith, focusing on a topic that is exactly.
You leave your Judaism and convert to the faith. You return to the faith in the faith, but through the redemption of Yeshua.
A person ceases to be a woman or man. Here he's discussing a different topic. Paul isn't addressing whether you are now part of Israel. As I mentioned, it wouldn't make sense for him to tell a Jew, you're no longer a Jew, now you're part of Israel. What? Pero los judíos ya somos Israel.
That's why he called them Israelite men. That's why he called them Israelite men.
What's happening here is that it's not so much that, but I mean, Jacob, it's not so much that, but actually what he's saying is already, don't make a distinction by rejecting those who are coming closer, because they are one, they are Israel. All of them are Israel. Let there not be that distinction or, so to speak, discrimination. In the sense of saying, no, I am Jewish, only me, and you are a Gentile. Stay away. No, rather there should no longer be that division. But everyone is one. Everyone is a child of the eternal, and being such means being Israel.
Well, about that ending, I would agree with you that this is what Pablo is proposing. I'm not very sure about the ending, although it's true that some have suggested it that way. You're right, there are even scholars who say that's Pablo's intention. About there being no distinction in this, Pablo himself writes in 1 Corinthians that women should keep silent in the churches, so it's not all rosy either, right? Here the point is talking more about a religious factor than a national one, at least. That's how I understand it. All right, Pastor Miguel, let's wrap up.
It's been a pleasure, Jacob, to have a guy. And look, Eli started. Eli wants to refute everyone. If Rambam shows up there or Rashi, he'll refute them too. He has no problem with that. What was I going to say? Well, you're all invited. The same goes for Mr. Levi. Not today, because I'm already tired. My mind can't take any more. We've been here for 7 hours, but another day. Gladly, we'll welcome you here.
When is Jacob available? When are Jacob and Levi available?
I have to leave now. So thank you for your patience and for being respectful. Goodbye.
Many blessings. God bless you.
Okay.
As the topic ended very nicely. What happens is that